Hello everybody, I hope y'all are doing well. We are going to be making this automotive part for a 1914 Chevrolet today. We got to make a core and get that in the oven while we make the mold up. Zero the bag and we'll get it close to the top. Go ahead and bring that up to 600 because we may spill some without dumping it all over the place. So we're going to add 30 grams of sodium silicate. Good enough. We got this mold. It looks like brown sugar. Alright, so I'm going to lightly round this down until I get it really hard. Alright, and once I do that, I'm going to place this handle right in the center of that sand and I'm going to bump this as I hold everything solid and push that handle down in there. And what that does is it keeps the core strong all the way to the top, where when I'm making molds, where I scratch the mold where it doesn't laminate, well, that's similar to what I just did here. When you punch a hole in the middle of that bed like that, it helps it to adhere to the second layer. I'll do it again now. I'm going to hold everything steady, keep the handle in the middle of the bed of sand, and hit it a couple times. Alright, and there's our core. Alright, so take a close look at that core. You won't see any kind of marbling separation because of the way I rammed it. Now if I hadn't did a center punch right down the middle in between each layer, you would actually see a crack at each one of those layers, which makes these fragile. Run it up to 400 degrees. It's getting humid out here. Looks like it's going to rain. Luckily I got my grass cut last weekend. Alright, so let's cut some keys in this. One on the opposite corner. And since I don't have registration holes in this, that's what the keys are for. I'm going to heavily dust these keys. I'm sorry for the dust. And we're going to put our sprue right here. Straight down. We got to go almost all the way down. In order to punch through that bottom, we got to go at least another inch. I want to come straight up if I can possibly do that without crumbling the core print. And I still did it. The first time I round this up, it went beautifully. Not so good on this one. Me pulling it sideways had nothing to do with that. It's been grabbing every time. It did pull cleaner in the other places, just not right there. We put it in the kiln and we baked it at 400 degrees for about an hour. That was not to cure it, that was to drive off any moisture. So now we're going to coat it with graphite. That sucker's done. This is the first attempt to cast one. Everything did great, no shrinkage, except right here. See that crap? And the backside turned out good. On the one we just molded tonight, I had some sand break off right in here in between one of the bosses and this. So that's got to be ground out. I've had several people ask me how the foundry furnace is coming along after the meltdown. We still don't have all the refractory chiseled out of this thing. This is taking a long time to do. My wife has been a lot of help. She enjoys the demolition end of it. So it's slow progress as we find that precious time to work on it. In the meantime, we are doing things an unconventional way, I might add. This one was a success. We'll go ahead and knock the gating off and get this thing ready to stress relief. The customer's coming back tomorrow to pick it up. Thing's still warm. We're going to start off by knocking this core out. To make it a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and shorten this as much as I can by cutting straight in. For this, I'm going to be using the SUHNER UWK 10R150 right angle grinder with variable speed. I'm going to be using the turbo disc and slice this puppy up. Here I'm going to make one more chop with the cutoff wheel, and I wanted to let you know, running it on that low RPM like that does not take away from the torque. This thing's still got plenty of it. It's just like putting it in double low. Okay, now we're going to switch over to the SUHNER Magic Disc and finish this casting out. I'm going to start off on low speed where I can take high mass areas like this down with ease. And once we get down to the flashing, which is minimal, we'll speed it on up. We're going to stop right there. I got something I want to show you. If any of you watched my little short clip on pattern making a couple vids back, I cover an area where you don't want any sharp internal corners. Alright, so this little fine line you're looking at right here, that is a crater that sucked iron in from here to here. Now, as you were watching, I cut off a riser right there. That riser that I sliced up, it sat just like this. See that very sharp ledge right there? There was no edge break there on that corner where this intersects that plane. All of this gets machined off. But this is a great opportunity for me to illustrate why. I was hoping to get several other castings cleaned up and put in the kiln with it. Because of the time frame, customer's coming tomorrow afternoon, so I've got to get it in there now. It's already 4 o'clock. More stuff I put in there, the longer I have to wait. I want to introduce y'all to one of my customers, Stephen McKinley. He's one of the few that have drove down to get his casting. Well, actually, he's coming through from Florida, and he is the one that's involved with the restoration of the 1914 Chevrolet, which used to belong to his dad. And I'm going to let him tell you more about this and what this part does and how it works on the car.
It's part of the brake system. It fits on the end of the axle. It actually sits like this when it's in operation, and the axle goes through here. The brakes attached to these outports here, whatever you want to call them. And so you don't really see this part.
Okay, so it's on the inside.
Yeah, the wheel is right here. The wheel's going around, the spokes are going around, and the bearings and everything go inside of here to hold the axle and the wheel on. So it's on the back axle, and the problem we had was we had one of these, and we had some other axles that were 15 model. This is a 14 model. In the 15 model, they changed this part and made it an inch bigger. So we had one that we made the pattern from. The pattern we made for it. Good friend Ray Mood is the owner of the car, and he said we needed to try this out, and so I said, I think I know a guy that can do it.
Well, I hope it'll work for you.
And it looks like it'll certainly work. Just a matter of doing the machining now, and
okay.
I want to thank you for doing it for us. Really appreciate it. And
well, I'm glad I was able to be a part of this.
I'm sure I'll have another project down the road.
Everything willing, I'll try it.
There you go, sir. Yeah.
Thank you for your business, and look forward to seeing this car completed.
Yeah, we'll send you some pictures and give you some updates. I'll send you a little bit on when you start doing the machine work on this. Hopefully we can start on it this week. We'll start machining it and see if we can get it get some machine footage for you.
I'm anxious to see that.
So.
Because of technical difficulties on my end, I wasn't able to do video that Steve supplied, but this is the casting along with the pattern, and here in the lathe he's chewing it up, getting ready to bore it out. And in the next picture you're going to see good quality iron through and through. The picture after this is going to be of how it's mounted on the rear end, as illustrated on the left side there. And I believe he told me in this picture he's running a transfer punch maybe to get the bolt circle right on the mating piece. And these pictures are a little out of order with the operations, but in the previous picture it had already been turned on the outside there. Here he's machining, I believe what he said is a 15-degree hole. And then this last picture is of the car itself. Sweet looking ride, huh? I'm anxious to see this put together and running up and down the road. Like and subscribe if you haven't already to see all other upcoming projects here at Windy Hill Foundry. Hope everyone remains safe, healthy, and I'll talk to you later. Y'all wanting to go ride again, aren't you? We just got back. Y'all gonna stay in the truck all day?